class. My name is Cassandra Coker, and today I'll be talking about the ethical conflict found in Isaac Asimov's short story Evidence and how it relates to the NSPE's Code of Ethics. So now, what exactly is the NSPE? Well, NSPE stands for the National Society of Professional Engineers, and it is a non-technical organization that has to do with engineering fields of all kinds that lays out ethical behaviors and rules that professional engineers are expected to follow. Now, these ethical behaviors and rules that I mentioned before are actually laid out in the NSPE's Code of Ethics. Now, paraphrasing, some of their fundamental canons include things like protecting the public, being honest to the public and to your employers, being prepared for the job you've been hired to do, and representing engineering in a positive way. Now on to the short story Evidence. Evidence centers around two men, Francis Quinn and Stephen Byerly. Now, Stephen Byerly is a district attorney that is running for the mayoral office of the city that he and Francis Quinn live in. Francis Quinn is also a politician, but not the kind that gets elected. He's more of the kind that works behind the scenes to get people put in office that he wants and people taken away that he doesn't. So now Francis Quinn, for whatever reason, does not like Stephen Byerly and doesn't want him to become elected. Now, to keep him from being elected, he's decided to start a rumor that Stephen Byerly is a robot. And to do this, he enlists the help of Alfred Lanning, a man who works with the U.S. Robotics Corporation, and Dr. Calvin, who is a robopsychologist. Now, Alfred Lanning and Dr. Calvin call in Stephen Byerly to try and prove that Stephen Byerly is a robot or a human. They call him in and they try and get him to eat right in front of them. Now, Stephen Byerly complies. He eats an apple. He chews and swallows it right there, sitting at the desk. But Dr. Calvin says that doesn't necessarily prove that he is indeed a human. He could just be a very sophisticated robot that is able to perfectly mimic chewing and swallowing. Now, Dr. Calvin later says that the only way to 100% prove that Byerly is a human or a robot is to take a picture, an x-ray photo of his insides, or to have him break one of the 3 rules of robotics. Now, Francis Quinn, he attempts to get an x-ray photo of Stephen Byerly from the police, but Stephen Byerly is wearing a protective shield underneath his clothes that reflects and you can't see the photo properly. And also, Stephen Byerly seems to break one of the 3 laws later towards the end of the story, where he punches the man who is antagonizing him and actually asking him to punch him to prove his humanity. But Dr. Calvin later says that that man could have been a robot, therefore not breaking the 3 rules of robotics, which one of them is that robots cannot harm humans. So that man could have been a robot, and therefore Stephen Byerly would not have broken one of the 3 rules of robotics and could still be a robot and in office. So now the ethical conflict that I would like to talk about is the code that Francis Quinn has broken. Now, this code states, the specific part that I would like to focus on is that engineers shall not attempt to injure future prospects or future employment of other engineers. And I know that Francis Quinn and Stephen Byerly aren't engineers, but Francis Quinn still breaks this code by starting a rumor that Stephen Byerly is a robot, when indeed Francis Quinn doesn't really believe that himself, and he also doesn't know that for a fact. Now, engineers can't do this to each other because you can't lie and try and damage someone's reputation. So in other words, you cannot try and prevent someone from getting a job or any other research opportunity by lying about them. It has to be something truthful, something they've actually done that could be harmful to the company or to the public, because one of the Code of Ethics is to protect the public. So you can't just lie and try and get someone to not get a job that you may want or not want them to have for whatever reason. All right, thank you guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye.